Hello, 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 my friends. Caitlin here. And if you could relive one moment of your life, what would it be? Like that time I climbed Mount Everest? Or when I was crowned prom queen? Ooh, or that time Spider-Man swung me through the streets of New York City? None of those things ever happened, I think. Today's video comes from a subscriber question, yay! It's from The Loop Show, which is actually another cool channel on YouTube, which is geared towards middle schoolers, and my friend Ricky is a host on it, and I'll link it over here if you're interested. They wrote in and wanted to know, what's the moment in your life that you wish you could relive? And I thought this was the perfect question for a video because this is the kind of stuff I think about all the time, mainly because I can get really focused on the past and wanting to redo things. You know, like when you have an argument with someone and then for the next day or two, you're just replaying it over and over in your head, but this time you're actually saying the things you wish you'd said in the moment. Yep, that's been me most of my life. So when I read this question, my first thought was of this moment in my past that I've always wished I could go back and change. It was October of my 5th grade year, and I was riding the bus home in the afternoon, and one of my friends, let's call him Joe, came to sit down beside me, which was normal, and then he asked me to be his girlfriend, which was not normal. And me, being the dummy that I was, said no, because I had a crush on one of our other friends. So this singular dumb moment from my childhood has always stuck out to me as a turning point, because if I just said yes, things would be so different, right? I would have been the first of my friends to have a boyfriend. I would have dated a guy that I would ultimately end up having a crush on for pretty much the entirety of middle school and high school, and who would become one of the most popular guys in school, thus also making me super popular if we were dating. Duh. I would have had a completely different life trajectory where I didn't spend my teen years utterly hating myself. I would be powerful and unstoppable now. Okay, wait a second. You're getting all of this from saying yes to being someone's girlfriend at 10 years old? Like, you probably just would have broken up a week later and nothing would have really changed. Well, but it's true. I fantasize, and I'm sure many of you do too, about going back and changing the past like it will really make a difference in our lives. But in reality, where we are is really just an amalgam of little inconsequential decisions. So how would we even know where to start? I know deep down that whether or not I said yes to being Joe's girlfriend back in 5th grade, there was a lot of stuff that I had to deal with on my own. Like all that self-hate and self-esteem stuff. And it wouldn't have made a difference in the grand scheme of my life, whether I had or not. Sometimes you gotta go through the trials by fire in order to become who you are. But getting back to the question, if I was going to relive a moment of my life, not try to change it, what would it be? I'd say probably my joint 10th and 100th birthday party with my great-grandmother Davis. I share my birthday with her, and we were 90 years apart. And she lived to be 100 and still rather spry, I would say. So we had this huge birthday party for the both of us. And like there was this big cake that was hers with a bridge going down to a smaller cake that was mine. So like, you know, bridging the gap between generations. It's very cheesy, but I love it. Basically, I'd love to relive that day and that party with all of my family gathered together, many of whom have passed away at this point because it was almost 20 years ago now. When you're 10, you don't really understand the importance of a moment like that with all of these generations and just special people in your life gathered together. But at 29, I do, and I wish I could just be a fly on the wall, like observing that day with everything I know now and like all these people that I miss. I think if there's a reason to relive time, it's probably that, like see people who've passed away or like things that are no longer around in some way. Thanks for watching today, guys. I would love it if you told me down in the comments a moment in your life that you wish that you could relive. Plus, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know the moment there's a new video. And as always, you can check me out on all these other social media sites. I'll see you guys in not next Thursday because it's Thanksgiving, but the Thursday after that. We'll be back and we'll start Christmas time videos. Yay! Bye!